Hi, my name is Lisa Farah, and I'm a transformational life coach. And I work with women with ongoing health challenges and health conditions to feel more empowered in their lives, to be able to live life on their terms and not feel restricted by health conditions, symptoms, pain, and to feel like you have more choices. So I work with women to align with their best health and to do all the things to ensure that you're at your best health and not feeling held back by health. And also I help women to live a life without limits. Like I'm all about we have so much potential in our body. Our body is so powerful, but it's about knowing what to give our body, how to nurture it, all the different things, the components to allowing our body to go back into a healing state. Our body has massive healing capacity, but unfortunately, our medical system isn't necessarily designed to help us with chronic illnesses or chronic issues. And so I know over this, so I'm sharing a video, just sharing some what I like to call super tools that I use that have worked for me. I've overcome fibromyalgia over a decade ago. I recently got diagnosed with endometriosis through returning back to my medical job, very severely stressful. I ended up with endometriosis, and that then triggered the fibromyalgia off again. So I'm in a process, this has been 3 years now. I'm in a process of working with these tools that I worked with to overcome the fibromyalgia. I was pain-free, symptom-free for 10 years. These tools work. Unfortunately, my body has gone kind of out of its healing state. It's kind of its homeostasis balance. But I know that these tools work. So I'm working with these tools and able to live a life without limits every day. Not feeling restricted to the point where I can't do the things that I really want. I really believe, just because you have a health condition doesn't mean to say that we can't, go after our dreams and our life goals. But it's just about knowing that we have needs that need to be met. We have to look after our bodies, whereas our tendency may be to overwork or to not think about ourselves, to put other people first, or whatever it might be, to push ourselves. It's about being more mindful about the mind-body connection. And so long as we fulfill the needs of the mind and the body, then we're able to do more and not feel restricted. And so I know with a lot of my clients, I lead a community called Sisters Thrive, and I hear that there's a big issue with feeling like we have to do it all at this time of year. I know Christmas, is a busy time, can be a stressful time for everybody. It has the potential triggers, things that can trigger us, like spending a lot of time with family, or this push on consumerism and needing to buy a lot, buy gifts for people, and so if we've got issues with money, it can be really triggering. If we've got issues with feeling alone and not having family around us, it can be triggering. There's a lot of triggers, but especially when you have a health condition, anything that's stress related, anything that is triggered by stress, but also with the kind of like the things that are going on around this time, I think anyone with a health condition really feels it. So I wanted to share some super tools that can help you through this season, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. It's coming to the end of the year, so you might have deadlines at work that are creating stress. You might have the fact that it's cold and it's dark and the days are short, that can trigger a lot with our health. Our body needs the sun. We don't get as energized, and there's a tendency to just want to kind of retreat inside and not move very much, and that all has an impact. So it's important to do some things to keep our mindset positive, to keep our body moving, and yeah, to help us through this time, because it is a challenging time. So anyway, I want to keep to, so I want to share with you some big tools. These are like really easy, really simple, but really effective. So really simple to do on a day-to-day basis, to do when you're triggered, to do when you just really need to relieve some stress straight away. This is a really good go-to, toolkit, if you like, that you can use through the holiday season. through Christmas, through your New Year's. You know, and the main thing I would say is get prepared, be prepared. Don't just turn up to situations or events and expect it's going to be okay. Like if you have got chronic pain condition, certain things are going to flare up the pain. If you've got if you've got a chronic illness, or if it's endometriosis or any of the kind of menstrual health issues, if it's IBS, whatever it might be, you know that there are certain factors that are going to trigger that. Or maybe you don't, but you know, it's something to be aware of. And so the more we can kind of like manage the factors, the external factors and the environmental factors, the more we know that we can show up at our best, we can feel our best, and we're not going to be triggered. I tell you the main triggers as well, I've realized that and all human beings have, I think, is you know, like hunger, tiredness, and lack of time. Those three things can trigger a lot. I realize that I've noticed that in relationships, traveling as well. When I travel with somebody, you know, if one of you or both of you, or even worse, are tired, that you know, that then tensions start to rise. If then you're hungry as well as being tired, tensions rise even more. And then if you know time is is an issue, if we're kind of like constrained with time, that really then adds to the pressure. So you know, these are three main things. If you can kind of like always, you know, have these in mind, this is going to really help, you know. So just making sure that you plan ahead, you give yourself lots of time, you know, you don't get pulled up by other people's, you know, constraints of time, you know, manage your own time and not feel pressured. Making sure that you know, you eat well, you bring things to, so, you know, some of us might be visiting family, you might have to stay with family, making sure you're prepared for that. You know, if they won't have the supplies in that you need, bring them yourself. Even if you're going to a Christmas party, and you know, I've had all best intentions and gone to parties in the past and not wanted to drink alcohol, and just thought, you know what, I'll just stick with water or whatever, and then it gets boring after a bit, and then I just want something tasty, and then you might end up succumb to having a glass of wine if everyone's having the wine, and then feeling bad about it, you know. So it's like, if that is potentially going to be the case, bring some alcohol-free wine. If you don't want to have alcohol, bring some, you know, these days you can get some great alcohol-free beers. Like, plan for it. You know, if you're going to someone's, if it's a Christmas dinner and you think that they then, you know, you've got gluten issues, or you don't want to have sugar, bring things that you can, you know, maybe you can bring things for people to enjoy, but you know, you have something that you can have. You know, we're all going to be tempted by sweet things. I mean, we say we're all going to be, but generally most of us will. You know, this is a time of year where it's promoted everywhere, you know, all the chocolates, all the crisps, all the snacks, all the, you know, Christmas cakes and alcohol. There's like so much of it. It can be anyone who, you know, has ever indulged in these things or has a sweet tooth or whatever, you know, like likes to enjoy these kind of things, is going to be tempted by this. So if you have any of the conditions, you know, that are triggered or worsened by, you know, inflammatory foods. Most conditions are, actually, I would say all potentially, you know, IBS, fibromyalgia, endometriosis, PCOS, all of the things. You know, we've got to really be mindful of not having too much food that will inflame, you know, our systems, our digestive system, our reproductive system, our tissues, our immune system, all of it. When that gets inflamed, that's going to heighten, you know, pain. It's going to heighten any kind of symptoms. So it's just thinking about these things. So, for example, I'm going to be staying with my mom. She actually has dairy-free milk now. But before, I would literally buy myself some oat milk and I would take it there. I would take my dairy-free yogurt. I would take, you know, certain things. I have like gluten-free biscuits, gluten-free granola. So like breakfast is really important to me. Like, I can't just hope that she has the breakfast I can have in. I need to bring it. I need to know that I'll have it. I don't, you know, like sometimes I might have like sweetener in a coffee or something. So I will bring my own honey rather than have sugar. I don't really have that anymore, but that's what I used to do. I used to literally carry around pots of honey and different things, so I know I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to try and have, you know, like biscuits that are going to create problems with me, or even alcohol. You know, I bring my own alcohol-free beers sometimes if I want it, or ginger beer I tend to bring to things, because alcohol triggers pain for endometriosis. And you know, Christmas is a time where people are you know, having drinks around me, and having water just doesn't cut it for me sometimes. You know, after a bit it just gets boring, and it just, I feel like, you know, the more we feel like we're having to refrain from things and avoid things, and we're constantly like holding things away. Oh no, I can't have dairy, I can't have gluten, I can't have sugar, can't have this, can't have alcohol. It just starts to feel really shitty, and I get it. And I think, you know, in part, it's nice to indulge and enjoy, treat ourselves. But you know, I think they used to say, like with histamine, when people have problems with the histamine, it's about imagining you've got, it's a bit of a weird analogy, but they call it a histamine bucket. So, you know, like say your bucket is this big and you have something with histamine in it through the day. If you just have one thing, then the body can contain it, can handle it, can, you know, break it down. But if you keep having things, eventually that histamine bucket overflows, and that's when you get like a flare up. And I feel like inflammation is the same. You know, I guess if you have, like, say, a coffee in the morning and that's the only inflammatory that you have for the day, generally that will cause a bit of inflammation, but the body can handle it. But if you have a coffee, then some toast and gluten, and then some eggs, and then some dairy, and then, you know, you pile it, you know, kind of keep going with the trigger foods. Eventually that inflammation is just overflowing around the body, and then you are going to get that pain, and you are going to get digestive issues, and, you know, whatever other flare-ups is going to happen. So it's about just being mindful of that, like maybe allowing yourself one little treat, but just knowing, okay, like if I'm going to do that, drink lots of water, have anti-inflammatory foods, have, you know, something like, I have anti-inflammatory supplements like curcumin, like ginger capsules, you know, like I have aloe vera. So there's different things you can have. You know, if you're going to have some of the things, what can you have to combat any kind of like damage or, you know, triggers that can create. So that's going on about the trigger foods, because I feel like that is a big thing in this time. Even if you don't go and see family, you know, we will be at home, and, you know, it's nice to kind of enjoy that, being on the sofa watching the Christmas films or whatever, and having that downtime, you know. For a lot of us as well, if we're used to being busy, you know, doing all the things, having this downtime, people tend to fill downtime, you know, with kind of things, and comfort eating with the sofa, watching TV or whatever tends to happen. So it's just about knowing that. So yeah, bring things to help you. So if you're going to be staying anywhere, if you're going to be visiting anyone, thinking of the things that you need. So obviously you've said about things around food, but also around, you know, pain relief or symptom relief. Don't forget to bring the things that you need. I'm sure, you know, if you've got a chronic illness, you know this already, but just think about things that you need that will help. Like, so for example, sleep is going to always trigger symptoms to be worse, if you don't have enough sleep. So it's like, what do you need to get a good night's sleep? If you're going to be staying at someone's house, you know, an eye mask, earplugs, and not your best cushion, like a cushion, a pillow that, you know, you can sleep on. Making sure that, you know, you wind down before sleep, and not having coffees too late, you know, those kind of things. Just plan ahead, and that's going to really help you. So I want to share with you, so these are my tools, my super tools. We've got 5 of them. 5 of these things, if you can implement these things every day, you are going to not only notice that you're managing this better, you're less stressed, you're less reactive, but also that you're enjoying this time. You know, this is potentially a really nice time to relax and just kind of enjoy some me time. You know, this is a time when hopefully you're not working, and you're able to just enjoy, you know, chilling at home and enjoying home comforts. If you are working, you know, this is a time where, so it's about looking at the blessings as well, and the positives of whatever situation you're in. You know, I used to work a lot through the Christmas period because I was working in the hospital. But one thing I used to love about that was everyone was kind of in high spirits, you know, because, like, generally, like, people love Christmas, and so that there's that kind of appeal to it. Also, you know, people are a bit more relaxed because, you know, management know that you're in and it's a bit crappy to be in, say, especially if it's Christmas Day. So people are a bit more lenient, people are a bit more chilled. And then also, you know, if you're a positive kind of minded person, even though you're annoyed or frustrated at something, you're going to make the best of it. And that tends to be the energy that people come into it with. Anyone who works in like, care working, hospital working, or, even retail, I guess. Retail are a bit more, I don't know, I think people get a bit more stressed at retail. My family do, and they get really annoyed by that point. The Christmas music blasting, like customers are really, frustrating. But it's about just trying to see the positives. And giving yourself this time, just to kind of do what you need to do to be at your best. So anyway, my 5 tools, my super tools for like being at your best and feeling your best in this Christmas season, despite having a health condition or chronic health challenge, from sleep disturbances, anxiety, stress, chronic stress. I don't know, like, yeah, so obviously I've talked about fibromyalgia and endometriosis and all these kind of different conditions that you might have. The first thing I want to say is starting your day is so, so important. It's so key. If you can start your day in the best way and really kind of do what it takes to put yourself into a calm and balanced state, it's preempting and it's preventing like triggers to happen further down the day. If you start your day like a whirlwind, bouncing out of bed, you've snoozed, so you're rushing late and you're kind of in a state of stress, that's how your day is going to unfold 100%. Whereas if you give yourself time in the morning, wake up, give yourself time to, I would say, meditate for even a few minutes. If you can do that, you're going to really notice a difference in your day. So please, 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 if you can, I don't even want to say if you can, I want to say make the time. Make the time. Like if not two, like if you can't have no time at all, do 2 minutes. If you have the time, give yourself like 10 minutes or so to meditate. And the best thing I can say about meditating right now, Deepak Chopra, I think is amazing. He has a free meditation 21-day experience that he's got. It's on an app. I think you can actually access it on a desktop as well. But it's 21 days and it's called Manifesting with Grace, or Manifesting through Grace. He does a little bit of a reflective, thinking at the beginning. So he talks through something for, I don't know, the first 3 to 5 minutes. And then it's about 10 minutes of meditation. It's beautiful music. Like, you'll most likely fall asleep or get close to falling asleep, but you'll be so, so calm at the end of it. And it gives a mantra for you to repeat. And at the beginning, you'll be repeating this mantra, and that allows our mind to not focus on thoughts and to just kind of focus within and to calm. It's really, really good. It's really distracting for the mind, and it just sets us into this kind of relaxation state, which you hopefully then will maintain through the day. So I will share a link to this. This is such an amazing tool to have. 21 days. If you start it today, then you've got that through the whole, it will see you through the whole time. And I feel like after 5 days or so of doing this, you really notice a difference of how you feel when you start your day. So that's the first one. Meditating in any way that you can. If you have not got much time, do 2 minutes. 2 minutes of just literally, listening to some nice music or in silence meditating. Like, you will notice a difference, because it's training our mind. It's training our mind to say, I'm in control of you. You're not in control of me. If I want to say, let's have a break of thinking, you follow my instructions, and eventually your brain will follow those instructions. The second thing is tapping, EFT. So, it's called emotional freedom technique, and this has been proven now and has massive, massive positive effects for people. It's really good for mental health. It's really good for releasing physical tension and actual physical kind of sensations in the body. It's really good for doing at times of stress. Literally, as you feel the stress and the emotion coming up, or physical, pain or sensations coming up, if you can then tap on certain points of the body, it helps distract from the thinking, and then it rewires. So you're saying statements as you tap. So this is a tapping point. So you'll be tapping on certain points. And it actually, while you're saying, so you'll have had a pattern of thinking, which is usually like, I'm stressed, I can't do this is too much, or I'm in too much pain. And what you're doing is you're distracting your mind and the thinking pathways from the stressful thoughts or whatever it might be, two thoughts of calming, thoughts of more empowering thoughts, and you're shifting and switching your thinking processes. It's very, very powerful. So it's distracting, and then it's shifting, and then choosing different ways of thinking. It's also tapping on certain points of the nervous system and meridian points. And so these are kind of like tender points where you tap. It actually has a calming relief, a calming influence on our system. So it's really, really powerful. So this, I would say, definitely 100% suggest to do it. I'm going to share with you a little demonstration of it after this. And this is really going to help you. So, you know, if you are having a situation where maybe your family are pushing you and pressuring you, or maybe you're being ridiculed by, you know, one of your siblings, or maybe you're getting the critical parent, you know, of one of your, whoever's brought you up coming out, and you can feel yourself rising, and you can feel the tension going, and you can take yourself away, and you can do this tapping. You know, even though this thing is happening, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, even though this person is creating rage in me, and you kind of saying these statements, and it releases. So whatever anger you've got going on, it will release that, and actually it will turn it around, so you're calm. So then, you know, say you just took yourself to the toilet to do this, you can then re-enter whatever situation in a better way. So you're not reacting on impulse, but you're responding from a calm perspective. So, you know, the key there is remove yourself from the situation before you say something you regret, calm yourself down, and then respond in a better way. This is powerful. This is where you really change the family dynamics. You know, you are able to deal with situations that would normally stress you out and cause a lot of, you know, symptoms to flare up. It's a really empowering tool to use, and I'll share with you a really amazing script, we call it. So a set of phrases to say while you're doing the tapping that is really going to help you. I'm going to share with you one to tap on stress, to release stress. This will stop you from getting really anxious, and if anyone has tendencies to have panic attacks or, you know, real bad flares of stress, this can help, you know, like kind of rise above it and release it in a really nice way. I always recommend affirmations in the morning. So literally telling yourself how you want your day to go to be. So this isn't just like pretending to yourself, you know, I am powerful, I am beautiful, you know, like that kind of thing. It's about saying to yourself, today is going to be a great day. I am going to show up like caring, thoughtful, and calm throughout my day. I am going to, you know, take myself away if pressures become high, and I'll do the EFT so I can be at my best. It's statements telling yourself how you're going to be. And when we do this repeatedly over a few days, you know, it's about knowing our brain is a supercomputer that is giving instructions to our body to do the processes or the actions, the behaviors that it does. So rather than just let it go by default, which is usually a negative default, like I'm in pain, I'm going to get angry if he says that, like I'm going to give up if that happens, we can actually instruct it to do the things that we really want. So this is a way of really like tapping into, you know, our mind-body connection in a positive way, in an empowering way. So yeah, every day. So if you can do the meditation, you can do these affirmations to follow it. This is a really positive and empowering way to begin your day and have that unfold in the way that you want it to do. You're literally telling your body what to do and how to react, and you're telling your brain what to look for and how to respond. And then along with this as well, every morning, visualizing the best case scenario, visualizing what it is that you actually want to happen in your day, not the worst case scenario. I come from a family of worst case scenarios. They all, like my nan especially, worries about what's the worst that could happen. You know, she's worrying about not feeling well for Christmas. Like, but you know, what about if you're feeling well? Like, and the thing is, if you worry about that enough, it's going to happen. So, you know, rather than worrying about like, oh God, I hope that argument doesn't. And I have to say, this is something that I can end up having. You know, Christmas historically tends to be a time where me and my mum might butt heads and get triggered by each other. She can trigger me quite easily. And there was times in the past where I would worry about this because I don't want that. I want it to be a nice day. I want it to be enjoyable. She would be the same. But because I'm worrying about it, I'm actually bringing more attention to it as being, a most likely possibility. So instead of that, I visualize how I want it to be. I visualize, being at my best self, my calmest, having really nice connections with my mom, having really nice interactions, having her be really grateful for me being there, having, visualizing the best case scenario, not the worst. Visualizing, saying, things that I want to say and responding in the ways that I want to respond. So this is really, really important. Again, the more we do this, the more our brain just gets on board with it. So, our brain can't differentiate between real and imagined. So if we imagine a scenario over and over again, our brain just sees that as a memory, because the neural pathway to that gets so reinforced, it then stores it as a kind of memory in the same part of the brain that stores our memory. And this is why, this is how sports performers what's the word, like harness their skills. They practice and practice and practice, and they visualize and visualize to the point where it's like an ingrained response in the brain. And so if we when we visualize often, over time, then our mind just expects it, our body expects it. And if ever you've had a reaction to someone, if someone has really been critical of you, that by that thing happening, and then the impact that has on you then emotionally, and then the physical sensations you get, it's huge. And so if we can break that down, if we can actually visualize having positive interactions with a certain person, say over a course of a week, because that's what we've kind of got until Christmas Day, this will be the most common memory that the brain can retrieve. So it won't necessarily flare up as much as it would do if that's our only memory. So it's a really important thing to do this. So if you can do your meditation, you can do the affirmations of how your day is going to be, and then you visualize the best case scenario of your day, of things that happen in the future that you're kind of what's the word, you're preempting for. This is going to be really powerful. And then last of all, realign. So yeah, this is what I really love, creating a playlist that you can put on and go to when you're stressed, angst, whenever it might be triggered, whatever your trigger is. If you think your trigger is actually emotional, and maybe you've lost someone close to you this time, or maybe you're not with loved ones, or whatever it might be, if this time triggers you in a grief way or emotionally kind of sad way, create a playlist that lifts you, that reminds you of, so not Celine Dion, maybe not whatever it might be, really sad songs, but maybe more upbeat songs to lift you out. Obviously, so what I like to do is create a playlist actually that's almost like a journey, so to help you feel that emotion fully. So yeah, if your emotion is sad and grief, and there's a song that reminds you of a certain something that is important to you, play that song. Allow yourself to feel that grief. If it is there and it's bubbling, allow it to happen. But then, put other things on the playlist to see you through that journey, allow you to rise through the emotions, the scale of emotions. So, going from grief and sadness to hope, to, things can get better, to happy, to joy, to that kind of a thing, to celebration. What we want to end up on in our playlist is a celebratory songs. So whatever song it is that gets you up and gets you like really shaken and feeling really great, that's the song to end on. And then so in a similar way, if you get triggered with a lot of anger, I tend to get that. I get frustration because I'm not dealing with the thing that's happening very well, and I can't find, I guess, the tools and resources within myself because it's so triggering. I get a lot of frustration that can turn to anger, or maybe even a bit of resentment. So what I like to do is try and remove myself from that situation before it gets too much, and I end up being reactive and saying things that I regret, or doing things I regret, taking myself away and actually just processing what's coming up for me. So for me, I would be playing music that's kind of quite thrashy. So I don't even know, like Sabian, or something that is kind of really high vibe, high tempo, some hard house probably. So I would play some of that kind of thing, and then I'd play something a bit more calming and with ease and just soothing, and just, okay, yeah, it's going to be good, it's going to be okay. And then something more hopeful, and again rising into more higher kind of vibrations until it's just like, yeah, joyful. and celebratory. So you want to end on that celebratory. So hopefully this has been useful. These are my super tools to help you kind of through this Christmas period. They're really, really powerful. They're so easy to implement. And, especially a few of them, say if you're staying with relatives and you are feeling triggered, even the playlist, make sure you bring some earphones with you. I think that's an important tool. So, if you feel like you're kind of being bombarded with the environment around you, and you just need some time to yourself, if you haven't really got that in a space. So the time I spend with my mum, she loves the soaps and I can't stand them. I find them really stressful and just depressing. I don't know. It's just very low vibration for me. But that's what she wants to do, and it creates a lot of arguments if I ask if we can change it, watch something else. It's her routine. Generally, sometimes she does, but rather than put that onto her, I just take the power back and I put my music on or whatever I want to listen to. Some podcast that I want to listen to. I like to listen to things that are empowering, uplifting, motivational, inspirational. I will put them on, and it's like we can have a connection. We can spend time in the same room, and she can do what she wants to do, and I will listen to what I want to listen to. And once that's over, we can reconnect again, and I'm at my best self. I'm not triggered by the environment that is around me. So definitely earphones is a great one. And your playlist, you can take yourself away. If you haven't got a room that you can be in, go to the toilet, listen to the playlist, listen to the first bits of a few songs until you can raise your energy to a higher emotional state, a state where you're feeling at your best and you can respond at your best. So that being said, I hope you have, however you are choosing to have this time. I don't know, not everyone celebrates Christmas, but if you've got time off, and enjoy that time off. If you're working through this time, find ways to enjoy working through this time, like interact with the people who are there with you. Like no one wants to really be there generally. If you're with family, enjoy those connections, embrace it. Whatever you're doing, that's the overall thing. Embrace it, embrace this season, embrace the wintering, embrace being around other people. This is a time for connection, however you do connect to people. And if you don't have people around you, find a way, volunteer at soup kitchen, volunteer at homeless shelters. There's always a way to be around people if that's what you really want. Otherwise, enjoy being on your own. I love being on my own sometimes. It lifts me up, it recharges me. So if that's you, enjoy it. But however you enjoy it, I hope these tips help you. Let me know how you get on. I will share the EFT script as well, and have a great next couple of weeks.